Chilanga Conversing.
Back with another episode of Chilanga Converses, and we're here with Chilanga resident and economy student Milimo. I'm your boy Mr. Pars, or you can call me Sunday.
This is Mulundu, aka the Kingpin.
This is the resident Milimo.
Just make sure everybody's here. All right, man. So there's a lot of stuff I don't understand about economy, really.
No.
But I guess the main one I wanted to ask was the kwacha. That's our currency.
Yeah.
How does it lose or gain value?
How does it lose or gain value?
Yeah.
Hitting me with the hard ones, huh? Alright, so there are a lot of ways you can lose or gain value. You could gain value simply because of the stuff we bring in, and the stuff we take out. So if we take out more stuff, like in terms of exports, that we take in imports, this will make us gain more of our foreign currencies, and we'll build this strength because we control their money. So basically, these are the principal ideas how the money grows or doesn't grow. So we have more foreign money, our money will be stronger. If we have less, our money will be lesser. So that's what's going on right now in Zambia. We're just getting more foreign stuff. We're not producing anymore as we should.
Okay.
Yeah. That's just basic, you know.
Okay, I'm thinking like in a complex situation, right? Say there's like a war or something, or there's terrorism. Is like the flow of incoming goods and outgoing goods, is that still the main factor? Is that how, let's say, the currency loses value in a situation like that?
In a situation like that,
I would say yes. I would say yes because ordinary goods and services, the flow, the trade in ordinary goods and services has been brought to a halt because of this state of emergency that has been created. You know, so if people aren't trading, they're not making gains from their businesses, and consequently, consequentially, they can't buy things in stores, and everybody is like there's very little money going in.
Exactly, and that's the point that happened in Italy during this same coronavirus situation. People in Italy were dying, and there wasn't really much economic activity happening, but people were rich. So I saw something online about citizens in Italy tossing money on the streets because it couldn't help by time like that. Money was basically nothing. So you'd imagine something costs, maybe milk cost whatever the currency is called, 10 of those. Then after this corona thing, they've got all this currency, and they're now trying to buy milk, trying to buy something that money can afford, which is safety at that time. So money becomes useless, so they threw it on the ground.
So, but like, wouldn't it still be like a good thing to like hold on to the money until like like the situation gets better?
Yeah.
I remember hearing a story once when older people were talking about how bad things were in Zimbabwe at one point. So they were like, if you find two baskets on the roadside, if you find a basket of bread and a basket full of money, you're better off taking the basket of bread because the money won't even buy you that basket of bread, you know?
Okay, but I'm thinking in Italy, they use the euro.
Oh yeah, the euro.
The euro, right? And there's more hope for the euro regaining value than there is for like the Zimbabwean dollar. That's what they were using at the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was reaching a point where
Trillions.
like
Trillions to buy a bottle of water.
like that basket of bread probably wouldn't have been enough to buy that same basket of that basket of money wouldn't have been enough to buy that basket of bread. You know?
But I get you. As an economist, we train to think of things rationally. What would someone rationally do? Like give him two choices. Something heavier than the other. You have to pick the heavy thing. Rational choices. That's what you're talking about. But now let's go back. Maybe let's go into like more psychological thought. Let's go back. How many months since the corona thing? 6
Well,
maybe or
since
7.
like March.
Yeah, let's go back to when that stuff started.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the fear that was there? Only thing you could see on TV was scrolling. It was like Armageddon or something.
Yeah.
So
Everybody,
people in situations like that tend to stop thinking rationally and just start surviving. So there is something broke in humans that money couldn't fix.
That's definitely true. And hence why it was also an opportunity for like people to start inflating prices of sanitizer.
Sanitizer 100 kwacha.
I heard that in places like America, toilet paper would run out completely. You know, people would buy for weeks on end, like for weeks ahead.
I can imagine.
Their supply.
Because no one wants to go outside for months.
Yeah.
That was the idea.
And then they got tired and
Yeah,
started
no, like-
rioting because they wanted to be outside. I remember being at a pharmacy. You know, I wanted to get some masks. Some masks and some sanitizer. I think I got told the guy to get like 3 masks, right? And like 2 bottles of small sanitizer. And the bill came up to like 120 or something like that. And I was like, what's going on here? You know?
Mm-hmm.
He said the masks themselves were like really expensive.
Yeah.
So I was like, put them back. I'll get the cheap ones.
Now look at the situation. Mass these days cost you like 10 kwacha, 15 kwacha. You know? But coming back to the previous point about why the kwacha could be performing so poorly, you could also look at it in terms of poverty levels. Because at the moment, Zambia its poverty level is at 40%. So 40% of the people, well, this could be debated. Maybe it's even more than that, you know, but according to a statistic I saw online. So if you extend that thought, perhaps, you know, that could explain things.
Okay. Thinking about, kind of going off that sort of 40%, right? Would it be safe to assume that a lot of those people who are not doing so well but doing something have like little businesses, you know, like say you're staying in the Kombon, you know, you have your own little shop that sells things and they're living off that. Would you say that can also contribute to why people are so poor?
You could. Well, firstly, I would say that.
But check.
Firstly, I would say that 40%, I think the figure is higher than that for starters. Yeah, genuinely, I think so. Because look at the number of people who are educated in this country, who earn a living.
I think it's
way past that. That statistic is wrong.
being educated.
Okay, check. I think 40% they meant in terms of urban areas and rural areas, maybe like 70 or something like that.
Okay. The distinction between the urban areas and rural areas.
Because they usually separate them. Yeah, to show equality in life. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's possible. But at the end of the day, the kwacha are performing so badly. This thing has nothing to do with citizens or what we've been doing or how small our businesses have been. Us, we've done what we can do. This issue really is about macroeconomic decisions that have been made, man.
Okay. That sounds like a nice term.
Yeah.
Let's hear more about that.
It's all about macroeconomics when it comes to money, because money is just an illusion. It's just an agreed upon term. We came together, like society just decided, we have to decide this. That's why government comes into play. Government is the middle factor. So we agreed that this note would exchange value. But in reality, if you get this phone right here, this has more value than money. So when I decide to give this for money, I should get a lot of money because I'm willing to like exchange what this is for a piece of paper that promises me something. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. So it's all about.
Can I ask what the distinction is between macro and microeconomics?
Micro. Yeah. Okay. So macroeconomics is all about what currency, maybe like things that involve us all. You know, things that government plays with, money, inflation, interest rates. They can control that stuff. Interest rates, unemployment. They've got numbers which they can twist to change those numbers. Employment, macroeconomics. Yeah, those big things together as a country. Then with microeconomics, we're talking about you, Mulun. I'll look at you and be like, so Mulun wants to go and buy maybe a drink, man, 2 drinks. So which one does he want to buy? And why does he buy that? All those decisions.
Okay, so that's how consumption bundles come into.
Yeah, consumption. That's why we study microeconomics. What the firm does, and be like, I just want to sell this stuff, then lead 2 people to buy it. Which number can we maximize to make sure that it comes out good? Maximizing, minimizing, stuff like that. That's micro. But with macro, we're talking about the same currency stuff.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, we can all say it's just the decisions that have been made like, by the government, policies.
Okay, I like the phone has more value than the piece of paper.
Yeah, because it's function. I can use it right now.
Yeah, you can. There's a lot you can do with it.
Yeah, it's right
Connect
here.
to the internet, communicate.
If right
with
now
people
money
far away.
became useless, and I had this phone and your money, you had it like the way it was in Italy, like who was better off? Even if you had like a bunch of cash like that, and I had just this phone, and we're both in Italy right now, it's getting wild. Who's better off?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that same choice to have money is what makes money money. We agreed that we can take that risk.
So you're talking about the poor macroeconomic decisions
Yeah.
made by leadership.
Leadership, politics again, but yeah, let's just go into
No,
like
we can just talk about.
You can separate.
Did you guys hear that our Home Affairs Minister, Dr. Stephen Kampiongo, is acting governor of the Bank of Zambia because the governor is sick?
When did this happen?
Doesn't he have like someone who's underneath him who can take that role just in case? You know, like the way.
A deputy, for
Yes,
instance.
you know, since he's busy, he can leave the office and be like, take care of these duties. I have an important meeting. Let's say with updating the president. So we have someone else
Is there a
there.
person like that? We have a deputy.
He should have a deputy. It's the governor of the Bank of
Yeah,
Zambia.
but we don't know that for sure. So what do you think?
Maybe he
But then
did.
how what I don't understand is how you bring someone else from a totally different administrative structure to stand in for a person whose duties are totally different. Because, you know, for you to be, let's say, governor of the Bank of Zambia, that presupposes that you should have some knowledge about the financial world. You know, so as Home Affairs Minister,
Maybe did he have his CV? Has he worked previously with banking?
who knows? But perhaps that could be another example of poor leadership that we've had in this country that has impacted microeconomic decisions. Perhaps, you know.
Yeah.
What others could you think of? Like what other poor decisions could seriously impact the strength of the economy?
The biggest decision has been borrowing.
Borrowing, huh?
And it's there, like, you know, I don't know if it's just some things that maybe others have been seeing, or maybe I'm seeing because I'm a student. But at the end of the day, Zambia's biggest problem for the past 7 years, maybe 8, has been borrowing. Since independence, through the period of our late president, I think Zambia only borrowed, accumulated borrowing amounts, actual amounts of not more than $4 billion US dollars.
Really?
Oh, $5 billion, not more than $5 billion US dollars. Just that period.
And what are we on now? 27?
Now, yeah, it's, no, 140.
140.
Yeah, 140.
When?
I know it's 40 or 48, bro. But yeah, just you can check those figures. That's what I'm putting to my.
Maybe you can check while we discuss. I don't know.
Okay.
'Cause
Well, we'll take your word for it.
Alright,
You're
okay.
the economic student, so
Okay, let's just measure the length. 28 shows. Let's get 28 and let's get my 40 and let's get the 5. Let's just see the difference
Yeah.
in borrowing though. Let's forget about the number.
if you were to do a bar graph,
Yeah, you seen
know,
the
to see
one
the
one
distinction.
one administration borrowing that much. So that's been the mistake ultimately. And
Okay.
right now, if you, international news is always saying stuff like Zambia is about to default on its debt. It might happen.
We've
I
already-
see that a couple of other countries defaulted.
we've already defaulted, haven't we?
Yeah,
We have?
Yeah, we have.
we did. Yes,
When?
we defaulted some time ago. But I saw that some other countries, including South
Yeah, we've
Africa and
defaulted.
Kenya, that they were close to default as well.
Yeah.
Okay, the problem I've always seen with the borrowing is what's done with the money. You know, we tend to, well, from what I have observed, I'm no expert on these things, is that we spend the money on things that won't bring in more revenue.
Yeah.
You know, we don't bolster the strength of industries. We don't. I guess we started running agricultural programs, but I don't see how any of the money we've borrowed is, you know, a heavy influence towards that.
I think most of the borrowing is just spent on nice things. It's like Zambia is a rapper. Yeah. I don't know if you can get that concept if you're a hip hop fan, but just think of Zambia as like 2 Chainz. Yeah.
It's a music video.
Yeah, because Lusaka looks nice. I can't lie. It's very beautiful. We've got roads in Lusaka like Los Angeles now. That's why. Yeah, man. But at the end of the day, it's not going to help.
Okay. I guess you could sort of see the rationale behind how decongesting roads may help people get places faster. But at the same time, I also think that has this project only been done in Lusaka, the decongesting?
I've seen some works being here, but they're late. They look campaignish. So they're late. Like they're happening right now. Yeah.
I suppose they could have happened years ago.
But Lusaka is where it's really happening, because Lusaka has been happening for a couple of years now. So you can see the difference. It's really big in Lusaka.
For some of us drinkers, we've been seeing a drought in certain products.
What do you mean?
Like, for one, Black Label.
You
know, it is very scarce at the moment.
Yeah.
And we've also seen the price go up from where it is sold.
It's been sad. It's been sad.
Zambia Brewery is that attached to the government in any way? Or it's like an independent sort of body?
So.
Well, either government is a majority shareholder, or it is a company incorporated which just carries the name Zambian Breweries. But then I'll tend to gravitate towards the first one, the former. Yeah, that the government is a majority shareholder.
Anyways, if it's government, it's one of those government places that like do a good job. I like Zambia Breweries. I respect them.
Okay. But I'm thinking about that time when they were enforcing the whole keep bars closed thing, and they were confiscating alcohol from establishments. Like, I would see videos of, confiscated alcohol getting poured down the drain, this and that. Wouldn't it have been more beneficial to like the country if they kept it, you know, for a later date.
So did.
Yeah, because obviously from that time, right? We've reached a point where bars have opened again.
Uh-huh.
So wouldn't it have been useful for it to maybe have been sold to Zambia breweries, and then Zambia breweries could resell it, you know, at a price, or it been donated to Zambia breweries directly? Wouldn't that have been more useful than pouring it all down the drain?
Okay, I feel like that's got too many logistical issues, like moving.
Yeah, it's
who's
got
going
a
to
lot of
move it
moving
there,
parts.
and who's going to do it there.
But
So first thing, the Zambian police has the alcohol, so it's confiscated it. So now what authority does it have to engage another department? So whose orders? Now that's why it started going into like offices and permanent secretaries and all that stuff.
like decisions,
Politics
that
and
were
stuff.
made.
So you're better off as Zambian police just doing your job and
yeah, I understand that.
pouring it as a safety measure to society. So it ends out that it's too many moving parts, I think.
It's the people who pretty much said or sent the police out there
Mhm.
to do that duty, who should have thought of some kind of system to reintegrate that back
yeah.
into society.
Maybe it would have been, I mean, any government system should have efficiency as one of the good qualities for it, right? And with efficiency, you're talking about costs of administration not being more than actual revenue that is coming in. So maybe by doing that, you would create another, because you have to create a law that says that they can do that. Then you have to create a department which is going to handle that, and all of that. You know, so maybe it's too much work.
Exactly. I thought so too.
Okay. I don't think when it comes to like the development of the country, they should be like, it's too much work, because these are special circumstances, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you really gotta push the envelope to minimize waste, you know, and maximize on the benefits of the country.
But here's one again, as a beer enthusiast now. I'm coming in as a beer enthusiast.
Okay, welcome.
Do you know what's going to happen? That alcohol, if the police tries to recycle it and it comes back to the consumer, it won't be as good, man. When beer is produced, it's supposed to be taken within a certain period of time. It's not like a whiskey or something. You know what I mean? Just a fresh beer, right? A beer that's like a bit old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's why even Zambian brothers wouldn't want to buy it, because it won't be to the quality that it's used to selling its beer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's still bottled.
I've had a good castle, man. Duty free, like when you pour it in the ground, even as foam, like proper foam. And I've had bad castle where it's just water, bro. Trust me, a good castle.
But
is nice.
that bad castle, it still exists.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think that bad castle plays a part. You know, you like sending it to outside the city, you know.
I wouldn't spend my money on a bad castle.
But a lot of people would, unfortunately.
I don't. Okay, I think castle enthusiasts, if they knew it wasn't a good castle, they wouldn't buy it. They'd rather go somewhere else.
Okay, back on my point for efficiency,
Yeah.
right? Let's look at proportionally the cost expended for reselling those bottles compared to the revenue generated by the brewing company.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is it proportional? You know, in terms of for it to be practical, in a sense.
Okay. You or I could try and see what
try.
I can do with this one.
Let's see you try.
Okay. I'm thinking that if you're having people go on all these trips for raids, right? You're covering the cost of bringing the alcohol back anyway. I guess the only problem you'd have is storage. storage while you try and negotiate with breweries.
Which could be a substantial amount.
But storage-wise, you could actually just store them at like barracks for soldiers, couldn't you?
Now, at that point, you're involving the army. So now you're partnering with the army to start a certain mission, which requires some kind of protocol, papers to be signed.
Yes.
And in government, usually papers take like 2 weeks to sign. You know this. So I'm there for like 2 weeks, or maybe like a month. Yeah.
And that's red tape.
Yeah.
You know, that's the red tape. In a bureaucratic system, you have red tape.
On the ground, that's how it's going to be.
Okay.
Then maybe after you take it, let's talk about the next move now. This is what we're making a process for ourselves. Let's talk about the next move.
Like,
It's stored. So now you have to like talk to Zambian boys, making a contract with them again. Then again, there it might take some time. Need some papers and stuff. Now the beer has stayed in the barracks for maybe 2 months or a month. I'm sure it's bad by now. There's no way Zambian brewers will buy that beer. So I think Zambian brewers won't buy that beer at some point. I think I think they won't buy it. I don't think they'll buy it.
they wouldn't buy
I think
it,
they
would
would. Now the Zambian police now has to make it.
A decision.
It has to make. It has to maybe make a contract with East Point, man. So the Zambian police are now working with East Point. So it's like we want to like find out, and post on Facebook. People will be like, Zambian boys is selling liquor. Zambian police. Fuck us, man.
Okay. I guess we can all see that I've tried to tackle it. Someone else have a go. Or so, okay.
I lost my train of thought.
Or maybe
But no, Zambia right now it's good, but it's bad. But Zambia is also a nice place to visit. If a foreigner is listening, it's a nice place to visit.
it's a beautiful place, in fact, green everywhere. Unfortunately, trees fall, so power goes out. And it takes...
When when you hear thunder, that's it. Just know.
I was thinking what he was saying about, the police having formed contracts and stuff. So maybe when a tree falls, Zesco has to form a contract with people who cut trees, and that's why it might take such a long time for power to be restored.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
A lot of red tape. Okay, these places which are connected to the government, since we're not sure about Zambian breweries, we're sure that Zesco is one of them, right? ZNBC is one of them. Do you think it's better for the economy or worse for the economy that the government is connected to so many, to such entities? Would it be better to have independent entities on their own, like different television stations, different power companies?
For different areas.
Yeah, like private, to handle such burdens? Would everything run more smoothly, and would it be better for the economy if there were more like that, or is it good or bad?
I would say it depends what sector of the economy is being considered.
Okay, let's tackle power
for a particular company. Yeah, because if it was like ZNBC, for instance, that is the preserve of the government. For it to control it, you need to have a state news media company. But on Zesco, it's a huge source of revenue for the government operating it.
Yes, it's good for them.
Yes.
Now, what's good for the people? Because do you think that they don't actually perform as efficiently for the country because they're tied to the government and like their agenda that the government has. Let's say maybe the company initially would have wanted to be able, because we're the customer, right? And in every mission statement for a company, it's to please the customer, right? So they'd want to try and cover as many areas as they could for us. But since the government is thinking about how to maximize revenue, they might be like, okay, hold off on distributing power to certain areas because we need to export power to different countries. Yeah.
Well, it is assumed what is good for the government is good for the people.
I had that same thought in mind.
Yeah.
Don't come in with that one.
Yeah.
What's good for the government is good for the people. I get that. But I think on that point, you're very much right. The government might have too much of an agenda in maximizing profits. That the mission statement might not be carried out. Same thing with Lusaka Water and Storage.
Okay.
They're not trying to be efficient. They're just trying to survive and make money. That's why, if you notice about government institutions, it's like it's been built, and once it's built, it's just supposed to work as it is. There's no tricking with the system. Trying to improve.
Making it better. Yeah. Okay, I've seen that.
You've seen that. So it's about, we're here and we can sit and you and I can do this. So let's do it. There's no need for us to be talking about what's supposed to be there and there. So that's it. Yeah, because you don't see like a scale going up.
And you're thinking, okay, I'm thinking about things like the company Apple. I know it's a whole different thing. How they try and invent new technologies or new products to cater to the customer's needs better, right? There's nothing like Zesco coming up with a new way to distribute power, which might be less taxing to the Kariba Dam, which there's no ideas, like new ideas. If anything, I guess I've been here like 10 years and it's always been about rain. Like that is literally all that's been talked about, rain.
Well, all I'd have to say to that is power is a public good, So
yeah, when we have it, I've seen the good stuff.
It's a public good, so those are public services that should be provided by the government. It would be in a perfect scenario, it would be encouraging if a competitor was introduced, such that they produce their own power to the scale and size that Zesco does, so that you can have better opportunity. But then, shy of the government not allowing investors to come in and do that, it's a question of cost. For a private company to come and invest in the country in an electricity generating enterprise.
But if they have the money, then what cost is it to the government?
It's none, but the principal means of generating power by Kariba Dam is like pretty much the most efficient and renewable source.
It's the most efficient.
Well, considering if you were to put up, say, like solar panels or wind farming or something like that, perhaps not efficient is the right word to use, but the most favorable, yeah, for them because you have
maybe
water and affordable as well. So
okay, when you look at industries, right? Doesn't competition breed, factors that create a better industry? If anything, isn't that why countries try by all means to make sure no industry is monopolized by like a certain company? Because competition encourages it encourages companies to do better and to keep things affordable overall. So by having just one entity, hasn't it even encouraged, Zesco to be comfortable?
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. They'll wait.
No, Zambia could go and try to make the whole electricity generation public, but that's a risk. And we're a third world country. People can just come and take advantage of us. Anything could happen. Look what happened when it privatized in the 1990s.
If we have the right leadership, how can someone take advantage of that?
I know, bro, but how do you know you've got the right leadership?
No, I'm thinking about it in the point of view of them. Aren't you guys the best ones for the job? Can't you protect us?
I don't trust in our leadership. So I won't lie to you. I think Zambia should just stick within. We should stop playing with these foreign factors. We should grow our industries, get back to agriculture, start making boots and stuff. Zambia should be coming back.
Okay, support your...
Yeah, not support. They should actually come back and produce quality so that we can actually buy and be yo, this is some good Zambian product. Not that we should follow it because we're Zambian. No, we shouldn't be doing that. It should actually be good. ZMBC should be given a freedom to just go and start doing it. I mean, not everyone listens to the radio in their car.
Yeah.
You noticed that?
Even on the bus, people are still listening to the radio in their headsets.
That's how big ZMBC is. It's just that ZMBC TV has somewhat intended to a joke. I don't know what's going on with them.
But they did try and go digital, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Things have changed a bit.
Yeah, but I don't think ZMBC...
It's not like the way it used to be. It was all fuzzy.
I don't think ZMBC is an interesting channel to watch. I don't know. I just see talk shows and stuff every day. But when I was young, I used to watch ZMBC. It used to be interesting. Man. There was news. Everyone used to watch it. So I think it's lost that.
I guess they got comfortable because no one's gonna take them off the air. Nobody's gonna get fired really unless there's a regime change. Then you can see that it's wild for you guys. Your thoughts, Mr. Zulu, on the monopolization of industries by the government?
Okay, I'm going to use this expression. Government is a necessary evil.
Yeah, we need the government. We're not saying tear that thing down.
No. Essentially, what government strives to achieve is an optimum level of satisfaction for the public. Basically, they're looking after the public welfare. So, considering that they're looking after the public welfare, certain industries and certain things need to be within the control of government, because left to private hands, they could be manipulated for a plethora of reasons, which could include overthrowing government.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a bit extreme, but okay.
Yes.
I don't exactly see a power company trying to take over the country.
But on the other hand, if a competitor is introduced in the energy sector to compete with ZESCO, what I would say is the rationale of having ZESCO is in order to protect you, the consumer, because we don't have an idea of what a private entity, how much they would charge for your electricity.
Isn't that why there are regulations like that are put on companies so they don't try to, you know, take advantage of the countries. You know?
Yes,
Like
you could have that.
government regulation. It's they basically have to make sure things are legit before they're in the country. You know?
You can,
'Cause
but then
if the government had to do that, right, in the sense that you're like have our best, you know, at heart, they're looking out for us, right? Then we'd have to have government basically making everything for us. You know, make sure our food is good, make sure. Oh, we did privatize the mines. I mean, they made that decision.
So how's it going?
It went pretty bad.
Yeah.
But that's because the deals that were signed at the time by the government were not in the best interests of the people.
Or we can go back and change that.
Okay, yeah, we can't. But what I'm saying is, it's government is in charge of making sure these things go in our favor. Because it's our country, you know?
yeah.
And they have the power to be like, okay, you guys, this doesn't make sense. How you'll just be robbing people blind. You can't come in. That's it.
Do you know what I think?
But then that goes back to the necessity for having government control such a public enterprise in the first place, so that they can control it properly without having to, because capitalism, it's a laissez-faire economy, right? You know, do your own thing. But then if government then starts putting like regulations, for instance, if they came and said, the government said, regulation, we don't want the price of meal to be above 100 kwacha.
Yeah.
If the government said that, that means they would have to subsidize, because they can't place that cap. The companies would be losing out on profit.
Yeah.
You know, so that could come back to subsidizing power, which probably the government already does to some extent. You know, so it's what is needed is a shakedown. You know, just shake down the tree so all the bad apples fall out. You know, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a call to arms or a revolution or anything. It's all metaphors. Here on Chilanga Converses. All right. So the impacts of COVID on the economy could you point at COVID and be like, that's why the dollar is at 21 kwacha right now?
I don't think COVID did anything to this country, bro. Okay, it did something to our minds, but it didn't actually do anything to this country.
Okay.
Yeah, and I commend the president for what he did during the period. He didn't really close down this country. He just like told the people, yo guys, go inside the house, chill. But he never really shut down this country. Goods were moving, trade was happening, you know. Only things that shut down were like public. People couldn't chill anymore. You couldn't go to Hungry Lion, you couldn't go to a movie, you could go to the hospital, but you have to be like super scared. But if you're a person of trade, you'd go and trade. If you're a person who works, you'd go and work. So work was happening, but social stuff wasn't happening. So I don't think COVID did anything to the economy of this country.
But it didn't strain like finances for, I don't know, taking care of people.
It just brought panic. You know, because we've had money come in, aid and all that stuff, and we've had like no fatalities to that extent. We haven't had like, okay, let me just say, I can confidently say, if a survey was taken down of the impacts of COVID-19, I don't think economically it would show that how big of an impact? I don't think the impact will be that big. If you compare it to another study, you get another study that happened this year. I don't think COVID will be like number one. I don't think
Okay.
so. Yeah.
So, well, okay, just theoretical. I mean, you can't be sure, but
Yeah, I can't be sure.
what do you think has impacted our economy the most this year?
Take me back to the previous point again. Borrowing without like nothing happening. Man. Talking about Zesco, talking about ZMBC. We've got all this borrowing, but we're not seeing an improvement.
Who's is it the Ministry of Finance who is responsible for borrowing?
Should be.
So what would happen is like one of the ministries would go and be like, we have a need for this, in the country. And would it be the Ministry of Finance's job to investigate and pretty much say, yeah, your need is valid, we will try and procure funds, get funds to suit that need? Or how does borrowing happen in short?
Okay. Like when one ministry goes to the Ministry of Finance to like ask for money, it doesn't ask the ministry to borrow money. It just says we need money for this, and this is a government expenditure agenda that needs to happen. Like we need to do this. So are we doing it or not? Just ask the question to the higher ups up there, asking you, are we doing this or not? Then the higher ups now will be like, oof, we need to do this. Do you have money? No, boss, I don't have money. Damn. I just bought this rollie here. I just bought myself a private jet. I don't have no money. I don't know, man. Try asking that dude from China if he's going back money, man. Yeah, so yeah. The guy, maybe sometimes he travels, see when they go, there's that G20 things for poor countries. They travel to China and they just chill. I don't know what they talk about. They might be talking about productivity, maybe talk about poverty. I don't know, but it's a broke agenda. Then they meet with the Chinese president, they talk about business, make deals. So yeah, times like that they might be asking for money. That's how borrowing happens.
I'm trying to imagine the presidential way of asking for money.
Let me not make it like mediocre. Like it's not mediocre, but that's going to give you a picture.
At its core, it is asking for money, isn't it? Right? I'm just trying to imagine what it would be like as a president. Like.
I'm sure, like when you do like 3-4 times, I used to it by then. I was like, what's up? Another 20,000. Yeah.
So the people of Zambia are currently in need of a new dam.
Yeah.
And this could be an opportunity for China to step in, something like that. All right.
Letters. I'm sure they use letters. Maybe the guy doesn't even speak English. I don't think he does. I don't think the Chinese president speaks English. Does he?
I'm not
sometimes.
sure.
But on
Maybe
TV,
he knows English but prefers to use Chinese in order for national pride and heritage.
So, and there's also nothing he says can be misconstrued.
Yeah.
Taken out of context. All right. Yeah. So basically, that is how it happens, the borrowing of the money.
Oof.
But do you think there's a long-term sort of plan? Not a plan, but like, do they consider the long-term effects of what they're doing when they're gonna execute that borrowing of the money? Like, okay, this was in the agenda for this year.
Yeah.
Like, we do need to do this. This is what we planned. But at the same time, if we borrow this money, we're gonna have a lot less money and a lot more debt, maybe 5 to 10 years down the line. Do you think they have such a meeting, or it's mainly like the one you described?
Nah, they do have meetings like that. It's very essential. That's why the the people we put in charge, because they know all these things. They know finance, they know economics, they know all that stuff. But decisions have to be made. And economics doesn't work alone. It's for politics. These two cannot be separated.
Okay.
And I think politics is stronger when it comes to decision making. Economics just plays a part where we at least, even if we're making the wrong decisions, we at least use the right formula to guide us there. Like politics might come and impact, say, oh, let's do this, the wrong decisions, but we still have to use economics the best way we can. Yeah, so it's politics. They do think about that.
All right, but
They try.
thinking about where we are right now, like he said, we're in 27 billion. You said we're at 40 billion. Do they factor in that their let's say their party might not be ruling by the time, to see through the debt that's been created, because I believe that needs to be taken into account,
The repercussions of the borrowing.
Yeah.
I saw something that said we could take as many as 50 years to pay back the debt we have accumulated.
But
and that was at the time the figure was at 27 billion.
But in that 50 years, how much more debt would we have accrued?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And honestly, not to sound too political, but I think everybody knows, like generally, that's the rhetoric that's around the country. That perhaps we're being a bit too wasteful and not thinking about the future. And that's why regime change is necessary.
Have you guys ever been to, during like campaign time, general election time, have you guys ever been to a rally or read like policies that parties release? Have you guys ever done that?
No. People don't usually, people do go to rallies, but it's not like you have a discourse that is political. It's more or less just like, well, okay, let me say this. A lot of people get swayed by current events and not particularly by policies. So they will look at an individual and think, perhaps based on his past record, people he's worked with, things like that he should be a suitable candidate, and not really think about who logically should be placed, in that seat.
Because what I wanted to find out, right, is, because the PF has borrowed so much, more than any other party in Zambian history, that do they, around those times, be like, this is our plan for the future as a party, this is what we intend to achieve, because we're gonna borrow this like a lot during this period of time, and in the future this is how we're gonna handle it, because wouldn't that help people understand the PF, like it's all a part of the plan, like they're not misusing, this is what they actually intended to do, as opposed to we just see that debt, it's 27. How? Why? We're a bit in the dark.
It could be that
plan.
It could be that. But again, the thing is that I don't really see this story being told. I don't see them giving us the plan. They're just doing it and saying, everything's good. You want to believe them. Like I've heard the president like on the TV, and it sounds like an honest man when he says certain things, You want to believe him.
He really does. I mean,
But when it comes to things on the ground and things you're seeing, they're not explaining it. They're saying everything's good. Eventually, you just can't be listening to someone saying everything's good.
When Kwacha, a good indicator of poor performance of the economy, is performing poorly.
Yeah.
it's a record low, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the highest anyone's ever seen it go. It's still climbing. I mean, sorry, dropping. The dollar's climbing. I don't know how it works.
People are projecting it could reach 50 Kwacha
When?
next year.
Ooh. Bro, you
But
just,
they
just
must have a
shook
plan
me.
for that.
You just shook me.
Mm-hmm.
Will I be able to afford anything by then?
I mean, Airtel bundles.
Yeah, Airtel bundles.
Yeah.
Oh, but what about them?
Let me check them out right now. Oh, you talk about
I can
it.
even, yeah, you can check them out, but I can also tell you about them, right? Before, at 100 kwacha, you could get 15 GB, right? For 25 kwacha, you could get 4 GB. Now what's happened is that for 50 kwacha, you're getting 6 GB, and that's lasting a week.
6 GB.
6 GB. That's lasting 1 week. 50 kwacha. For 100 kwacha, you're not getting 10 GB, but it's lasting a month. And for 200 kwacha, you're getting 25, but it sounds like overkill, doesn't it? That 25?
My list had an option.
200 kwacha,
25.
25 GB.
That's overkill. For a month?
Yeah.
It's overkill.
I could get a gig for 5 kwacha. Before. That would last me for a week.
Okay.
No. 750 megabytes. Yeah. 750 megabytes would last me a week. But now that option is scrapped. Now instead you pay 10 kwacha and they give you a 1.2 gig for the week. You know, it's so unfair.
But
I feel cheated as a loyal customer.
not pulling any punches, eh?
Bro, I've been choosing Airtel this whole year, so I don't know what's going on with you guys. Okay, I do use Airtel, but those are times like that's when I used to have that 400 MB for 2 kwacha in a day. I used to use that a lot, just for like I need like a band in a day. But I think that's gone too. Yeah, it's gone.
But as a company, right? Don't you have to see that the people are doing better financially in order to roll out such changes? Because let's say the average person is using Airtel, right? What was that? 750? How much did that cost? 5 kwacha. Now the average person, the average person can find 5 kwacha in a day if they really look. In fact, I can even, like, someone could even just give me 5 kwacha if I just ask for it. But scrapping that entirely and introducing something like, oh, it's gone entirely. My bad. So there's no cheap option. There's no 10 kwacha, 15 kwacha.
There's a 10 kwacha option.
How much data do you get for 10?
1.2 gig.
That's for how long? A day?
That's for a week.
A week.
It's not too bad.
It isn't, is it?
For Airtel? Yeah, it's not too bad for Airtel. But on Zambian you could get 3 GB for 6 days. Yeah.
For 10 kwacha. But 3 GB.
3 GB.
I could enjoy that.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Why do you pay for a month?
Why?
What do you pay?
What do you pay? For 20 GB, you pay 100 kwacha for a month.
Hey! Good Lord! Okay.
We are paying out here. We are paying out here.
But do you see like the amount of money, right? And the amount of bundles. It's just right. You know? we're not giving you too much, we're not giving you too little. That should last you the month. You'd be comfortable. You wouldn't be worrying, and things would end at the right time. But 200. Maybe they're trying
Airtel is now 200, so it's like double.
double
Ah,
instead of
200 for 25 gig.
Yeah, Airtel has kind of been like that.
Are they targeting? Maybe they're
We are trying to decongest the network.
maybe decongested and target like the
Yeah,
richer demographic.
Very possible. Because these guys don't make decisions like this, like anyhow. Because they're competing. They're like 3 of them. So these guys compete. These guys are like, we call them an I'm gonna mess this up.
Oligarchy.
Yeah, that's what you call it, oligopoly. Yeah.
Oligarchy?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So these guys just can't be making decisions alone, minus the others. If you make a bad decision, the other guys will capitalize off your bad decision and get your revenue. So you just don't move like that. Most of the time, the best option is to make a decision together. Let's just raise our bundles.
How good is the coverage for the Chilanga area?
It's getting personal now.
It's better, man, but still it's better than Airtel. It was better. I haven't been liking it of late. It's still better than Airtel.
But it's still better than Airtel.
Okay, what I wanted to say is maybe we are missing the vital perspective, which might be MTN. You know, I don't know about MTN's monthly bundle costs. You know,
I saw recently that the IDC, Industrial Development Corporation, gave Zamtel's Velocity an award for entrepreneurship. You know, so that could mean that perhaps Zamtel is the preferred choice.
Zamtel is nice. But MTN is also good because you don't hear the customers complaining. That's how you know network is good. When the customer just quiet, just doing the minding down business. Like a SIM card isn't the problem in their life. They just wake up and not think of a SIM card. Now Airtel subscribers, I know your people will be thinking about SIM cards every day.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, since Zamtel is so awesome, right? They're really good. They offer great packages for data and everything. Why is it so hard to get a hold of? Like, I feel like if I wanted a Zamtel SIM card, I'd have to go to town or something. I just don't really know where to get the SIM card. If anything, my main worry is I don't know where to go to buy the talk time.
Yeah, I know how you feel. But with Zamtel, all you need is effort. Just right there. You should buy talk time from here.
Yeah. But why do they make us work so hard?
Because it's worth it. Trust me. I'm telling you.
So
when
maybe-
Zamtel tells me to renew something or like go back to the network and like change something, I oblige. If Airtel tells me to do something, I say, later, bro. For Zamtel, I remember, because recently I just go to Zamtel. I always make sure I'm up to date with what they're doing. So here's the best way to, like, for me, to own these networks. Airtel is very vital. So use both Airtel and Zamtel, or use both Airtel and MTN. That's the best way. You can't do without Airtel.
So maybe what Airtel is capitalizing on is the convenience of them being everywhere. Well, that makes sense.
But just think of it this way: make your Zamtel your internet provider. Not really that you have to make voice calls. Just think of them as your internet provider, like a separate modem in your phone. You pay them, they give you internet properly. They don't misbehave. They just give you internet all the time. Then use Airtel to do other stuff. That's how I do it.
Okay. We went from general economy to personal economy at the end of this conversation.
Consumption bundles.
All right. I guess that's been our longest podcast to date. But yeah. That brings us to the end of the show, guys. Thank you for coming on to the show, man.
Thanks for making me do this, I'm sure I'll look back and be like, and I hope, like, maybe even, like, things we've talked about, like, we could look, like, a couple of years from now, look back this podcast and be like, those things actually have changed, or they're gotten worse. I hope not.
Yeah, that's
But,
great.
It's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You're welcome back on the show anytime. That's Chilanga resident, Milimo. I've been Sunday, or Mr. Pars.
Malindo, the Kingpin.
Until next time, guys.
Chilanga Conversing.